Okay, good morning everybody, and we are going to be doing or starting our introduction to French sessions with looking at the topic of food, which is a great place to start. So this course of lessons is designed to help keep those brains active and healthy and to challenge yourself whilst maybe being at home or definitely staying at home during this difficult time. So we're going to start off with our starter activity, and on the screen in front of you you should be able to see some words, okay? However, they've been split up. So I'm going to give you about 1 minute to find as many of those as you can in English, okay? Some of them will be nouns, some will be adjectives, okay? Vous avez 1 minute. Vous avez 30 seconds, 30 seconds left. And there are 9 words in total. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, stop there then. So for one of our words, we should have cake, okay, followed by delicious. I don't know whether you were able to find that one. Sweet is another one on the list. Healthy, you may have found. Fruit, tasty, hearty, crisps, and dairy. Okay, so it will be interesting how many of those you can find. So just to get those brains going, really. So you will need a piece of paper and a pen. Okay, vous allez utiliser du papier et aussi un stylo. So using paper and a pen to write anything down. When or as we go through this, you may find it a good idea to screenshot some of the slides that you see, just to kind of like refresh your minds and things like that. Later on, when you need to come back to that language, it may be a good idea to have it easily accessible. Okay. So, qu'est-ce que tu manges? This is our question, okay, which means what do you eat? Okay, qu'est-ce que tu manges? Now, usually, or how we'll look at it is we'll start with our nouns, so our items of food and drink, and then we'll look at putting them into a sentence and build that language up. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we have items of food, so la viande, les fruits, les légumes, les framboises, les fraises, le fromage, le pain ou le pain grillé, le beurre, la confiture, les pâtes, le yaourt, le chocolat au lait, le chocolat blanc, le chocolat noir, les œufs, and le gâteau. Okay, so just a little bit of a kind of going through really how those words should sound. And then on the right hand column, so the column in blue, okay, le thé, l'eau, le café, l'eau du robinet, le thé vert, le chocolat chaud, le jus de pomme, le jus d'orange, and le lait. Okay, so there'll be a couple of other ones that we can add to that as well. So have a think about how many of those that you may know or that you could probably guess, okay? So there's a thing when we learn a language called a cognate, and that is a word that looks very, very similar or the same as the English translation. For example, on the left-hand column, les fruits, okay? We can work that one out by looking at the spelling of it. Okay, so en anglais, in English, these words, okay, and it may be a good idea for you now to screenshot this or take a picture of this screen just so that you can see them for future reference. So again, encore une fois, once again going through the vocabulary and how those words should sound, okay? La viande, les fruits, les légumes, les framboises, les fraises, le fromage, le pain grillé, le beurre, la confiture, les pâtes, le yaourt, le chocolat au lait, le chocolat blanc, le chocolat noir, les œufs, le gâteau, okay, and then the column of drinks, le thé, l'eau, le café, l'eau du robinet, le thé vert, le chocolat chaud, le jus de pomme, le jus d'orange, and le lait. Now, those words have got the in front of them, okay? And this is something where those of you who may have learned a language before, it's a little bit difficult to get this kind of concept into your head, really. However, words in French have an article, and the article is masculine, feminine, or plural, okay? So therefore, words on the list, like, for example, le beurre, le denotes the fact that noun is masculine, okay? So le is masculine. La tells us that something is feminine, and les tells us something is plural. Now, that's the easiest one to work out, because anything that's plural in English, you know that it will be plural in French. So with le, la, or l'apostrophe, it's a little bit more difficult. It kind of comes with time and practice to kind of get those nouns right. And even actually after years of practice, you still have to check things, okay? Now, when we're talking about food and we're talking about liking to eat something, we have to use what we call the partitive article, which is on the right-hand side of the screen. And basically, that means that it's the word for some, okay? So if we're saying, I like to eat some butter, the reason why we're using some is because we're not eating the entire tub of butter, okay? So you will notice that butter on our list is le beurre, okay? And over on the right-hand side of the screen, underneath where it says some, you will notice that le words need to change to do, okay? La words or l'apostrophe words need to change to de la, okay, or de and l'apostrophe. Les words would change to day, okay, so those plural words would change to day. So hopefully that kind of is, you've taken a little note of that, because you will be needing to use that a little bit later on, okay? So vocabulary now, and looking at that within a sentence. Okay, we still have our same question on this slide. Qu'est-ce que tu manges? Okay, what do you eat? Or I could say to you, qu'est-ce que tu bois? Now, we have two verbs, and I will sometimes relate or refer to them as infinitives. However, that's really a verb, okay? A full verb that you can find if you opened a dictionary and you looked up the word manger, you would see that it would mean to eat, okay? So manger and boire, you almost need to imagine pronunciation-wise that the A is an O, okay, to make sure that that pronunciation is right. So manger and boire. And I can probably say to you that it'd be a really good idea at the moment. If you've got anybody listening to you, then fine, it doesn't matter. But to practice that pronunciation out loud to yourself, you know, because that's how you develop your confidence with your spoken French language. Okay. So some phrases now will appear on the screen. We have j'aime, je n'aime pas, j'évite de, j'essaie de, je dois, je pense que, and je trouve que, okay? So those phrases can be used with our infinitives, okay, or with our verbs at the top, so manger and boire. And if I show you what I mean by that, j'aime, okay, and manger can go together to mean I like to eat. J'aime manger, okay. Je n'aime pas manger, I don't like to eat. So have a think about how we would say, I like to drink. And hopefully you should be thinking that it's j'aime boire, okay? I try to drink, j'essaie de boire, would go with that one as well. Okay, now, we obviously have our item of food or drink that comes after that, okay? So I like to eat vegetables, j'aime manger des légumes. The next part that we can do to make our sentence even more fancy is add some opinions, okay? So we have car c'est, which means because it is. And I'll just repeat that once more. So car c'est, meaning because it is, and mais c'est, meaning but it is. Okay, so just to make a little note of that, because you will, like I've said before, need it, and come back to that in a second. So délicieux, savoureux, dégoûtant, sain, sucré, facile, malsain, and rapide. Okay, so those adjectives once more, just to make sure that we're happy with those. So, délicieux, savoureux, dégoûtant, sain, sucré, facile, malsain, rapide. Okay. And then one more thing to add to our sentence. Okay, so therefore adding frequency words. Okay, so we know that we can say j'aime manger des légumes. I like to eat vegetables, and then we're going to say because it is healthy. So therefore j'aime manger des légumes car c'est sain. Okay. However, these frequency words can either come at the beginning of our sentence or really where we would think about where they would go in an English sentence, okay? So we have toujours, ça c'est always en anglais, souvent, ça c'est often, parfois, sometimes, tous les jours, every day, de temps en temps, from time to time, d'habitude, usually, un peu, a bit, assez, quite, très, very, en semaine, during the week. Et finalement, the last one, cependant, is however. Okay, so just, I'll go through that vocabulary or that pronunciation once more. So, toujours, souvent, parfois, tous les jours, de temps en temps, d'habitude, un peu, assez, très, en semaine, cependant. Okay, so let's think about this then. We know how to say I like to eat vegetables. Okay, so j'aime manger des légumes. We're then thinking about our opinion from our pink column. Okay, so because it is healthy, car c'est sain. However, we're going to add a frequency word at the beginning of our sentence. Okay, so sometimes I like to eat vegetables because it is healthy. So our sentence should sound like this. Parfois, j'aime manger des légumes car c'est sain. Okay, don't worry too much pronunciation wise if you think, oh, I'm a little bit struggling with that. That's absolutely fine. You may find that actually just getting the French down and looking at it and putting it together in the kind of short term, much easier to kind of get a grasp of that language. Okay, so on the screen now you will probably see or should see 8 sentences. They vary in complexity, which is why they start off red and move through to being blue. And I would like you to have a think about how those sentences should be formed in French. Okay, we've looked at the first one. Think about how those sentences should look and sound. Okay, I am going to give you 5 minutes to do those. Okay, so vous avez 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So you may want to write them down, or you may want to just do them in your head or speak them out. That's absolutely fine. If you find that easier, no problem. If you are writing them, don't forget your accents on those words, okay? Because they change the way in which that word sounds, okay? The pronunciation. So it's very, very important. Okay, vous avez 3 minutes, 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. 2 minutes en plus. Okay, 2 minutes left. If you're somebody who's finished, then have a look back and check those spellings, things, and make sure that your sentence structure is as accurate as it possibly can be. Have we used the correct version of the partitive article? So those words that are le, that we use do in front of those, that's du. If those words are la or l apostrophe, that we use de la or de plus the l apostrophe. And then if they are plural, okay, so there's more than one of them, it would be les, les, and then the partitive article, or our word for some, would be des. Okay. Vous avez 40 seconds, 40 seconds. Cinq, quatre, trois, deux, un, zero. Okay, so let's go through the answers and see how you managed to get on. So we'll look at number 1 to start with. So numéro 1, I like to eat vegetables. Et en français, ça c'est j'aime manger des légumes. Okay, numéro 2, number 2, I don't like to eat butter. Je n'aime pas manger du beurre. Numéro 3, I avoid eating chocolate. J'évite de manger, usually I avoid eating chocolate. D'habitude, j'évite de manger du chocolat. And you could say chocolat au lait, milk chocolate. If you've just put du chocolat, that's fine. Numéro 4, number 4. So I try to drink water. J'essaie de boire de l'eau. Numéro 5, I must eat fruit because it is healthy. Je dois manger des fruits car c'est sain. Numéro 6, number 6, I think that bread is tasty. Je pense que du pain, c'est savoureux. Okay, say is it is technically. Okay, so if you want to just say is on its here on its own, just take off the C apostrophe and then it would just be is. Number 7, numéro 7. I like to eat cake, however, it is unhealthy. J'aime manger du gâteau, cependant, c'est malsain. And finally, numéro 8, number 8, je n'aime pas boire du chocolat chaud car c'est sucré. I don't like to drink hot chocolate because it is sweet. Now, there's something, obviously, hopefully you've looked at how you got on with those activities. There's something that I'd like to add to this kind of screen really before we move on. So we're talking about what we like ourselves. I like, I don't like, I avoid, I try. With I like, what you can do is take off the I part, which is the J apostrophe, and replace it with IL, which is he likes, okay, or he, sorry. So it'd be il aime, or she likes would be LM, okay. So that's kind of something that you may need a little bit later on. The next one also to be thinking about, I must, okay? If you want to say he must, you need to be a little bit careful and change the word doit, okay? So therefore, je would change to il, which is il, and then doit, D-O-I-S, needs to be D-O-I-T, okay? So il doit, he must. Okay, right, so on va continuer, let's continue. You can see those statements or sentences there. Okay. Perfect. Right, so this final activity really for our lesson is to be thinking about putting everything that we've looked at in our short lesson into practice really. So the different types of activity will vary in complexity. So the first one that we have is traduisez les mots, okay, so translate the words. So thinking about what these words are in English, trying not to look back and seeing if we can maybe do them from memory. Okay, if you're somebody that thinks actually I'd really, really learning French is something for me, I would definitely advise you downloading an app called Quizlet. Okay, so that's Quizlet, Quizlet. And it's really, really good, a really useful tool for learning vocabulary in order to kind of develop your linguistical knowledge, really, of the language. So therefore, I would really recommend that. So with this first activity, le gâteau, les cheap, don't fall into the trap with that one. We've not looked at this word. However, it isn't what you think it could be, okay, or maybe. Le fromage, les pâtes, les légumes, les fraises, savoureux, les framboises, le pain, la confiture, le lait, and le thé. So thinking about what those words are in English. Okay, now on the screen, you can see numéro 2 en français. So these sentences you need to translate into French. Okay, applying everything that we've looked at so far within the lesson. So to A, I often like to eat cake, but it is unhealthy. B, I don't like to drink coffee because it is disgusting. C, he likes to eat bread, but he doesn't eat biscuits. D, daily I drink water because it is healthy. Daily you can use, I'm more than happy if you want to write every day, or if you'd rather use usually, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, at this stage, I'm going to go through the answers to activity 1 so that you can see how you've managed to do with that one. So, le gâteau, ça c'est cake. Les chips are crisps, okay. Le fromage, cheese. Les pâtes, for pasta. Les légumes, vegetables. Les fraises, strawberries. Savoureux, tasty. Les framboises, raspberries. Le pain, bread. La confiture, jam, le lait, milk, le thé, tea. Okay. Now, if you are wanting to add a flavour, okay, so for example, la confiture à la fraise, that would be strawberry jam. Okay, so your flavour comes after the noun that you're talking about. So, for example, j'aime manger, I like to eat du pain grillé, so toast, avec, with. De la confiture aux framboises, raspberry jam. So avec is with, A-V-E-C, and son, S-A-N-S, is without. So you could tell me maybe I like to drink tea with sugar, or I don't like to drink tea with sugar, for example. Okay, some of you may be getting to the end of activity number 2, so therefore I will pop activity number 3 on the screen for you. And this is a translation, okay, so la traduction, so to translate the text in front of you. There may be a little bit of vocabulary that could be, you may be a little bit unsure on. However, I would definitely prompt you or urge you to have a guess or make an educated guess rather than leaving it out. So for activity number 2, en français, 2A, your sentence should sound or read like this. So, souvent, j'aime manger du gâteau, mais c'est malsain. Okay, 2B, je n'aime pas boire du café car c'est dégoûtant. C, il aime manger du pain, mais il n'aime pas manger des biscuits. And D, tous les jours, j'aime manger de l'eau car c'est sain. So for C, I know that we've not done he doesn't eat at the moment, but you could get around that by saying he doesn't like to eat. Okay, il n'aime pas manger. And then biscuits is exactly the same spelling in French as it is in English. And obviously we know it's plural, so therefore we would add DES in front of it. Okay. I'm just going to give you about another 30 seconds to just finish off the translation of that text on the screen. Ok, so d'habitude, j'aime manger du pain grillé avec de la confiture à la fraise, mais je n'aime pas du poulet car je suis végétarien. J'aime boire du thé avec du sucre et je dois boire de l'eau pour rester en forme. Okay, so in English, that text should sound something like this. Usually, I like to eat toast with strawberry jam, but I don't like poulet, which is chicken, because I am vegetarian. J'aime boire du thé. I like to drink tea with sugar. Okay, so we're saying with some sugar. We're not having the entire bag of sugar, so therefore, so that's why it's du. And I must drink water in order to stay healthy, pour rester en forme. Okay, that's a great opinion phrase to support what you're saying, and obviously you could use that when describing other topics in French as well. Okay, so maybe if you're a healthy, like, you know, you enjoy healthy sports and bits and pieces, you may want to use that one, okay, to support what you're saying. Right, final activity then, everybody, for today's lesson. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to correct the sentences based on what we have learned so far, okay? The number in the brackets corresponds to how many mistakes that you will see in each of those sentences. So vous avez 2 minutes, you have 2 minutes to find as many as you can. Vous avez 1 minute, okay, so 1 minute. Thinking about the mistakes in those sentences, thinking about the partitive article and spellings of those words, okay. Do those words need any accents on? Are there any missing words? Okay. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so numéro 4, correct the sentences. So 4A, j'aime is spelt incorrectly. It should be J apostrophe A-I-M-E. Manger needs to have an R on the end because it needs to be to eat. And viande is feminine, so therefore our partitive article with the feminine form should be de la viande. Okay, so j'aime manger de la viande. B, Je dois needs to have an S rather than a T on the end. Okay, so I must, je dois. Boire needs to be an E on the end of it because it is the verb or the infinitive. De l'eau, so L'E-A-U. C, je n'aime, and we have a missing word here, pas, okay, so I don't like, je n'aime pas, boire, du, du, because it's masculine, okay, so that's the partitive article for that noun, so du, and then café with an E acute accent on the end, on that E, because the sound almost goes up, okay, so café. And finally, D, de temps en temps, okay, so an EN between temps and temps. So de temps en temps, je dois, again, the same mistake as in B, that needs to be D-O-I-S, manger with an R on the end, pasta, okay, which is obviously plural, so therefore it needs to be D-E-S, day, fat, and obviously with an accent, so a little kind of triangle with the bottom bit missing. We'd call it a circumflex accent in French. So, de temps en temps, je dois manger des pâtes car je fais du jogging, because I do jogging or running. Okay, everybody, well, that draws our lesson to a close. If you tune in tomorrow, we'll be doing some more on this topic of food, and we'll be doing about 5 sessions really to kind of support those who are staying at home and self-isolating. So it's to really keep that brain healthy and to keep it kind of going really. Don't forget the app Quizlet that we talked about earlier in the webinar. It's a really useful way of learning those words, especially if you're really thinking about taking this language learning business kind of quite seriously. So Quizlet to learn those words and to kind of help you really to your retention of them. Okay, merci beaucoup. Au revoir. Passe une bonne journée. Have a lovely day.